When we have an equipment-laden athlete, especially with a football player, the standard protocol with a potential cervical neck injury is to gain access to the airway by removal of the face mask. But in certain situations, and there are basically three of those that arise, if the helmet is dislodged, if the helmet is loose fitting on the athlete, or you cannot get the face mask off of the helmet within a certain amount of time, usually within 2 minutes, or if movement created by removing the face mask is too much, the next option would be to remove the helmet. If we have to remove the helmet, there's a protocol established by the NATA, the National Athletic Trainers Association, and their suggestion is that if the helmet is removed, the shoulder pads should be removed. This is called the all or nothing endeavor. The research that Jacob Dobbin and I have performed in the last 3 years, along with Shriners Hospital here in Erie, Pennsylvania, and Sports Medicine Concepts up in Livonia, New York, try to provide another protocol to create a safer environment for this, because when the shoulder pads are removed, it creates more movement of the cervical spine in relationship to the torso, and we don't want that to occur with this potential C-spine injury. So we challenge this principle, and we call it the pack and fill protocol. And what this basically means is that the shoulder pads will stay in place while the helmet is removed. We're going to fill the void between the bottom of the head and the spine board with toweling. And this keeps the cervical spine in a neutral position with relationship to the head and torso. So we're going to go ahead and demonstrate this for you, and you'll see how safe this is for the athlete, and we're suggesting this as an alternative protocol. We're not saying that you should replace the all or none endeavor, but we're saying that this should be possibly investigated more and then potentially used as a standard of protocol if the evidence through research like ours continues to prove this. All right? And while you're doing this, you want to make sure that your line of communication between you and your other allied health professionals is very efficient. Jake, you have stabilization of the head and neck?
I do.
All right, I will begin removing the helmet. As you remove the helmet, you pull apart and then tip slowly forward. Now, again, with the NATA position statement, their recommendation is to remove the shoulder pads because of the distance between the back of the head and the spine board. I will now reestablish position of the head, stabilization of the head. I got it, Jake? Yep. And Jacob is now going to put the cervical collar on.
Out of pro, once he steps off, it's much more run tight end. Okay, what we're accustomed to.
And then we will reestablish the head back onto the spine board. You ready?
Yep.
All right, we're going to show you the pack and fill alternative protocol here. And again, lines of communication between you and your other allied health professionals is key. Jake, you have stabilization of the head and neck?
I do.
All right, I'll begin removing the helmet. It's done very slowly. And now we will begin filling the void underneath our athlete's neck with the toweling. And this is maintaining the cervical neutral position between the head, the cervical spine, and the thoracic spine. We will then stabilize him with our blocks and strap him in.
It's more lead, ISO type stuff. Okay, power wants counter.
Good, Jake.
It's more downhill lead, ISO type action. When the tight end's removed with tight ends in place, and it's more power gap. Again, pass concepts out of that. They like to sprint to the two receiver side. Out of the slot. Backside, sometimes they'll run an over route or kind of an in route.
And again, the shoulder pads are still on. Go ahead, Jake. And we'll snug this up. And we've maintained the cervical neutral position between the head and the neck and the torso. We have access to the chest if we need to do compressions. The athlete would be strapped in and transported to the emergency room. And we would also have access to the airway. We could put in an oral airway. The EMTs, the paramedics could intubate this athlete if they needed to. They could defib him if possible. So we've provided him in a safe, healthy environment, and we are suggesting this as an alternative to the all or nothing endeavor. Our research has proven that this is significant in maintaining neutral stabilization. And also there is one other research protocol, a research project that has found the same findings as we have. And we feel over time, as this has continued to be researched, this will be the standard protocol possibly for athletic trainers and other allied health professionals to utilize while managing potential C-spine injuries on the field.